The idea was simple: enter a community and tell the stories that weren't being told. Hi, I'm Scott Reinardi, professor in the KU School of Journalism and Mass Communications. For 2 weeks in May, 7 students committed to telling the stories of healthcare availability in Garden City, Kansas. Known as the GC7, the journalists collaborated with the Garden City Telegram to produce multimedia content. Through words, photos, and video, they gave voices to those who are rarely heard. Here's what the students had to say about their experiences.
I really enjoyed this class. I liked that we went into a community that we weren't familiar with and interviewed people. I met a lot of great people at the community college, and I interviewed refugees, and I just loved meeting them and hearing their stories. So I really liked that. I felt like a real journalist, just coming out and really reporting outside of the school setting, and so I really liked it.
I really enjoyed this class. I liked the community immersion kind of reporting angle. I thought that was very clever, a good kind of experiment class. I was happy to be in the first one. I think Garden City is great. The people here are very kind. The diversity makes for a lot of great stories. I also really enjoyed not having to take a class for a whole semester and just being done after 2 weeks. It was a lot of hard work, but it was really worth it, and it seemed like it more closely simulated what it's like to work in the real world.
It was pretty good. Got to meet people, get out, and it was it felt like more of a job rather than a class. It gave you more of that feel rather than the same lecturing and sitting in a chair all day. You're actually doing what you've been taught for the last 4 years.
It was asking you to really put yourself out there, and you kind of, at least for me, I kind of put as much into this as I wanted to. I could have done less, I could have done more, I suppose, but I liked that, I guess, we were in control, and I felt pretty independent with this class.
I had a good time. I feel like I learned a lot, deadlines-wise at least, having to go to a whole entire new area and put together something that you are proud of is actually pretty difficult, but I think it turned out well, so I'm really excited that that turned out well. I think everybody as a group worked well together. It's cool to see people just be about their business and at the end of the day come together and do something really good for, I guess, a community that doesn't really have a lot of outlets, or talking to people that don't necessarily have voices and giving them a voice.
For 4 days in June, our reporters' stories dominated the Garden City Telegram. The final stories were not only published in the Telegram, but distributed to the Kansas Press Association's 230 media outlets. For many of the students, it was their final class before completing their degrees. For others, the experience prepared them to be better journalists as they entered their senior years. Either way, the GC7 will long be remembered for storming into a community and telling stories that might not have ever been told without their help. And that is the essence of community journalism.